Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of Subho's classroom. I hope all of you are doing really well. I hope all of you are in good health. So today we are going to start with a very basic concept of physics, a chapter that we learn in our lower classes and which is a very elementary concept to build your foundation in physics so that when you move to your higher classes you can understand things clearly, right? So you have to start from the very basic. You have to keep your base strong. That's why I've taken such a general topic and I've started my entire session, my entire plan with this basic concept so that it's easy for you to relate with. And what I've done is I've divided this lesson into two parts. In the first part today we are going to have a brief introduction of the different concepts of measurement and physical quantities. We will also get to know about some informative things, some fun facts, and in the subsequent class, in the part 2 of this lesson, we will dive a little bit more deeper into each of these physical quantities, learn a few bit more, add some extra points, and go on to a more advanced version of what we learned today. So let's quickly move to our first slide. Now, what is measurement? Suppose you have a substance and you do not know how much quantity of it you have, but you have already been provided with a known quantity of the same substance. What do? You compare the two and you try to find out a relation, which is more, which is less, or if they are equal or not. So this is a comparative thing, this whole measurement. That is very important. It's not very easy for you to understand if I just say like this. So that is why I have taken a few examples here. Suppose you have, let me use the pointer here. Suppose you have two glasses of water and you can see the levels of water are different. So the glasses are transparent, you're holding them in your hands. So what do is simply measure the volumes of each glass. You just pour the water maybe in a measuring beaker or a cylinder and you measure the volumes and you can find out which one is more, which one is less. So you can compare the two. It's a comparative thing. Okay, so I've taken another example here to make it a bit more general, so something you can easily relate with. We know that the normal body temperature of a human being is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Suppose we are having a fever. What do? We simply take a thermometer, we measure our body temperature, check it against the normal body temperature, and if it is anything above 99 or 100 degree Fahrenheit, we can simply say that we are having a fever. But how can we say that? How can we reach to a conclusive statement? Because we know that the normal body temperature of a human being is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So we can compare the two and we can find out the results. We can also take many such examples from our daily lives. These are the best two examples. That's why I have used these here. Okay, let me just quickly add one point. This video, if you want to just copy things down, or if you want to note something, you can simply pause it, or you can take the screenshot. Okay, so it's not a problem. It's an Instagram video, so you can pause this, or you can just take a screenshot, and you can just pause it or simply write it down. So it's not a big problem. Okay, now let's quickly move to our next slide here. What is a physical quantity? Anything that can be measured. This term is very important. It's a key word. It's very important to identify keywords in while studying physics, chemistry, or biology, or anything related to science. You have to look for the keywords always, right? So anything that can be measured is a physical quantity, and we have two main types. Let me show you. These are the fundamental quantities and the derived quantities here. Now let's quickly take a look at the definition of these two types of quantities. Fundamental quantities are the ones which do not depend on any other type of quantity for being expressed. They can be simply expressed independently. Let me give you a quick example. Suppose you have a rod, you do not know its length, you want to measure its length, you simply take a meter tape or a long scale and you measure it, and suppose it comes out to be something like 30 centimeters or something like this. So did you need any other type of quantity to measure the length of the rod? No. Suppose you want to measure the mass of a substance, you use a physical balance, or you just, or if you want to measure the amount of thing you're buying from the shop, use a physical balance. Okay, so you check its mass, how much amount of the particular thing or item you're buying from the shopkeeper. Okay, suppose you want to take a look at the time. You simply look at your watch. You want to measure your body temperature, you use a thermometer. So when you look at the time, you do not need to check your body temperature. Okay, so these things do not depend on other physical quantities. They can be simply expressed in terms of themselves. They can be expressed independently. But what are the derived quantities? The derived quantities are the ones which need to be expressed in terms of some of the physical quantities. They cannot be expressed independently. Suppose you have a square. We know that the area of a square is the square of each side of the square. So suppose the length of each side of a square is 4 centimeters. So what is its area? 4 into 4, 16 centimeters square. How do we find it? We simply we simply make the square of each side. That means the area of the square depends on the length of each side. Same is for a cube. Suppose suppose you have a cube which has each side measuring 4 centimeter. You simply make the cube of each side and you find the volume of the cube. Okay, so for finding the volume, you need to find the length of the cube, or to find the area of a square, you also need to find the length of each side of the square. Suppose you want to measure the speed of a body. There is a body moving at a certain speed. What things do you require? Speed actually depends on two things, distance and time. Suppose a body is traveling 20 meters and for traveling the 20 meters it required 5 seconds. So these two factors define the speed of the body. So all these derived quantities depend on the fundamental quantities like mass, length, time, temperature for being expressed. So I hope this is clear to all of you. So I'm moving to the next slide. Now, what is a unit of measuring a physical quantity, right? It's basically a standard which is accepted throughout the world. Okay, it's a previously set standard for comparing the quantity. Okay, so to have if you want to find out the amount of a substance, you will need a unit. Without unit, like suppose you have a rod, you are saying the length of the rod is 5 what? Centimeter or meter? Kilo, if you want to measure the distance from one point to another, you are saying it's 20 what? Meter or kilometer? You need to specify that. So that's why unit is really important. So I've taken a few examples. These units called cubit and handspan, these are some ancient units used to be measured. Length used to be measured with these units in the ancient times. Human beings use these units, but nowadays we mainly use meter for short lengths, and for long lengths we use kilometers. Sometimes there are other units like yards or something like this. So now coming to standard units and systems for measuring physical quantities, for measurement of physical quantities. There are three main systems. Okay, we can see here very clearly these three systems are MKS, CGS and FPS. I mean, how do they get their names? Why are they named like this? For these I have taken an entire table to explain the thing to you. So these systems get their names from these three main fundamental quantities: length, mass and time. For the MKS system, the unit of length is meter, the unit of mass is kilogram and the unit of time is second. So what do? We simply take the initials of each unit and we form the name of the system. M for meter, K for kilogram and S for second. Same is the case for CGS, it's centimeter, gram, second, and for FPS it's foot, pound and second. It's an informative thing, you have to remember these things. These are very important for your exams at your lower levels and for your general knowledge of science at your higher levels. So moving to this next slide here, we have the International System of Fundamental Units, or which we call in short the System International, SI unit. Most of you, many of you have heard these, but those of you who don't know about this, please listen very carefully. It's an important concept. there are 9 main types of fundamental quantities whose units we need to remember. Okay, so 4 of these are common to all of you, almost all of you: length, mass, time, temperature. Almost most of us know about these. Okay, so one thing I want to add: do not get confused about the SI unit of temperature. I have often seen students at lower level of their standards getting confused about the SI unit of temperature. It's not degree centigrade, it's Kelvin. Remember this: capital K, the symbol, and it's Kelvin, Kelvin, Kelvin. Okay. Now, electric current, those who are in their 8th, 9th or 10th standards, you have already read the chapter current electricity. You know what is electric current, you know the unit ampere. And those of you who are in your lower classes 5, 6 or 7, do not worry, you will be learning each concept individually, so don't worry about this. Angle and solid angle, these are again two important things. We often say that the unit of angle is degree. No, SI unit of angle is radian. We have to convert the radian to degree first, and the conversion I will show when I will take the classes on angle, solid angle. I will also teach this in maths, so don't worry about this. Okay, I will also take the mathematics class where I will talk clearly about angle, solid angle, all the concepts. And just remember, the SI unit for solid angle is steradian. Solid angle is a 3-dimensional concept. I will explain with diagrams, don't worry. And just remember the symbols. Luminous intensity, this is a term related to light, you will learn in your higher classes. The SI unit is candela and it is abbreviated as CD, capital C, small d. An amount of substance, very common term in your higher classes, 9 or 10 in chemistry, where you learn about chemical reactions, chemical equations, mole concept. So that is a very common term. Mole is the amount of substance formed during a chemical reaction, and the short form is small mol. So this chart is very important. I have taken this. It's a concise form to easy for you to remember in a chart form. That's just take a snap, or you can also pause the video, write it down, whatever is easy for you. No problem. I'm moving to the next slide. Okay, there are some other fun multiple and submultiple units. Okay, so kg, quintal, most of you know about these. These are important for your general knowledge in size. Just remember yard, inch. We often get confused while calculating, right? Suppose we often when we fill out a form or something, we often see the height is measured in meters or centimeters, and you know your height in foot or inches, so you do not know how to convert it. So these values, these these conversions will help you to convert the value from foot, inches to centimeters or meters, whatever. Okay, so remember these things. Yard, it's a very common concept. Pound. Okay, these are just related to mass and length mainly. I have taken the units for your general information, general knowledge in science. Okay, remember these. I'm moving on to the next slide now. Okay, sorry. All right. Derived units. We have reached to almost the end of this session. Derived units, I have made a whole chart of the most important ones. Area, volume, density, speed, velocity are known to most of you here, and the ones reading in your the higher in the higher standards, you have already learned about acceleration, force, work, power, energy. So don't worry. Those who have not yet reached that level, don't worry. Those of you who are in lower classes, you will eventually learn about each physical quantity when you will read those respective chapters. What I have done is that I have made a whole table of all the important derived units. I have given the formula so it is easy for you to understand even if you have not read that chapter. I have used the derived units, and I have also given the symbols here, so it is easy for you to remember. So keep this chart with you. I will teach each chapter individually, and then this chart will come handy. So you have to keep it with you. Do not lose it. Take the screenshot, write it down, whatever you want to. You can even take the screenshot and print it out and paste somewhere so that you get up every morning and look at them, and it's just like revising each day. So it is just set in your brain. You do not forget these things. Okay, so our last slide here, where I've given a very small assignment. You do not need to go thoroughly through my slide to answer these questions. These are some very general questions. Most of you will be able to answer these. Okay, and for some questions you might need help from my slide, or you can refer to any general book of ICAC standard. So just answer these questions. If you face any trouble, post them in the comment section. I will of course get back to you, and I will provide the answers. If you have any query, you can ask, you can message to our Instagram page, no worry. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed my lesson. We will soon be back with another lesson on physics in the next week. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.